Welcome back to Brainwaves Unplugged, where we keep all topics unhinged. I'm your host Keith, and today we're blessed to have someone that I believe is going to bring a lot of inspiration and is going to really have the conversation going a little bit in depth to such an extent that I believe you're going to benefit in a very big way. So allow me to start by asking our guest to introduce himself. Sir,
thank you so much for the opportunity. Before I introduce myself, I want to say thank you for the opportunity. I'm so grateful to be here. This is an amazing movement. It's an amazing initiative. I was telling you earlier, it's amazing. My name is Joshua Nkhoma. I am from Zambia. I'm currently in India. I was studying civil engineering, and I'm done. Yes, sir. So I'm currently in India. I play basketball. I play musical instruments. I'm a network marketer. I'm also a campus ambassador. Thank you, sir.
This is the resume. How big the resume? No, it is actually a blessing to have you.
Yes, thank
because
you.
we want people who are very inspiring.
Yes.
So we've heard a lot about you,
Yes,
even from people that
yes,
we deal with.
Yes,
I know you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we know you, right? So
Yes,
so it's very good to have you. It's
Thank
very
you so
good
much,
to have
sir.
you. Okay. So you just recently finished your course.
Yes, sir.
You've run the race, and one question that I want to begin with is, what was your inspiration to get into civil engineering?
Thank you so much for that question. That's an amazing question because your why will sustain you.
Yeah, that's true.
At first, I didn't want to study civil engineering.
Okay.
I wanted to do law. Okay, I wanted to do law. Law is very interesting.
Yeah.
It keeps you very sane, very studious. But then my father told me, civil engineers are the mother of engineering. If you do civil engineering, you can be anything you want to be. After this, I can study law, I can do economics, because civil engineering is that mother body, you see. So I studied civil engineering because it is the mother of engineers, you see. And my inspiration was my family. We're not coming from billion-dollar, we're families like that.
Yeah.
But then the few that we had inspired us to become better people. My father himself, he's a lawyer and a pastor. He told me that no matter how old you are, if you stop learning, you start dying. Albert Einstein said that. So I said, I'm going to study civil engineering. People will tell me it's very challenging. I said, no. I'll do it because it's the mother of engineers. It encapsulates all engineering. In civil engineering, there's electrical engineering, there's mechanical engineering, there's aerospace. Whatever it is in civil engineering. So that's why I studied it. Yes, sir.
I like that.
Yes, sir.
So one thing that I'm picking is the importance of mentorship. Sometimes people want to focus on passion, but mentorship is very important.
Wow.
So how is mentorship, really pushed you to get to where you are today?
That's an amazing question. You see, it's not always easy to learn from somebody.
Yeah.
What that means is that you should be able to let your guard down, to reduce your ego, and to learn. And the thing is, somebody once said that you cannot see far unless you stand on the shoulder of God, or people that have gone before you, those that have gone ahead of you. And if you cannot learn from somebody, even your own roommate, your own friend, you cannot make it in life, because every single day you have to learn something. So mentorship does not mean that I have to listen to Andrew Tate. You know what I mean? I have to listen to... Mentorship can be from your own friend.
So true.
We don't understand it because we think mentorship means you have to sit in the classroom and then somebody's teaching
Someone
you.
is actually that.
Mentorship is the ability to learn from a warden, from a gatekeeper, from a gate man, from your own classmate. To say you learn to be mentored. But then again, there are those figures in your life that has to be, a fixed figure. I can say people like Steve Harvey. Those people can be your mentor, you see? Now, why do we have those mentors? Those are life coaches that help you get into life. They've seen it, they've experienced it, and they're telling you, brother, there's a portal here. You have to pay attention to how we are moving, because if you say, I know it all. You see, I know it. I know where life is a paradox. And people that have figured it out can help you uncover those things. So that's why mentorship is very important. Everywhere you go, it can be in religion, it can be at work. That's why even at work you have people that are ahead of you, your superiors, your supervisors. You see, those are mentors. When you come to school, you have mentors per student. So they are trying to give you the idea of saying life is not just a rehearsal that you can do on your own. You're living once and you need someone to help you get there. That's my take on
That's it.
leadership. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm laughing because
Yes,
I really that means a lot.
Thank you, sir.
You're making me actually realize
Yes, sir.
the importance of friendship
Yes, sir.
and how the people that you spend time with, they totally you become more like them.
Yes.
So it's very important to choose very good friends, people who inspire you.
Yes.
That's very true. All right, so now you chose civil engineering. The next question obviously is, where do you see civil engineering in solving world problems? Right.
It's an amazing question.
Yeah.
You see, I think in my first year, I told my class that if we are learning these things and we can't apply them, then everything we're doing here is useless.
So true.
Because we have, let me give an example of ozone layer. Okay, people talk about ozone layer is being, ozone layer is being polluted everywhere. You know what I'm saying? For all these years, almost 30, 50 years, it's been the conversation. But what are we doing about it? Nothing. So civil engineering, what I see, especially in Africa, that's why for me, even though I can go to another country, make money, I never forget where I'm coming from. There are so many things that need to be done. Our infrastructure, our roads, our dams, our bridges. Civil engineering, especially in Africa, is the focus, because there is, I'll give an example. There is something we call precast housing in civil engineering. It means that you don't build a house on site like they we do with foundation bricks. You just make those things in the factory, make your components, come on site and assemble them.
And then
it's finished. And these things are becoming easier because every single day, like you have AI in the computer. We also have those things in civil engineering. You see? So in the coming future, civil engineering is going to be vast and it's growing. Because now things are also improving. So you have to know how to operate these softwares, because everything now is either AI or it's going digital, it's going computer.
That's true.
So you see, the thing that somebody knew as a civil engineer to know to plan a plan on paper, it's coming out of age. Now it's an application. You go there and design. So all these things, civil engineering is playing a role, because without civil engineering, we won't be doing this. It's building right now. You see?
It will be, yeah.
We'll be outside. There'll be no way for me to come and walk from my from my hostel to come here. There'll be no road. So all these things, what civil engineering is very important. But in the coming days, in the coming future, it will improve even more. Because now we have to be smart, move according to the times. You see, let me find the Bible. At least for the time. Am I right? There are people that were called the sons of Issachar. You see, they were what? They knew their times. You see, they were so smart that they knew their times. We have to know our era, and our time now is the computer age. It's not the stone age anymore. Computer age. So civil engineering now is playing a role even in computer engineering. You see, we have quantum computing. All these things are coming to quantum physics, because quantum physics now is going to be the vast improvement of civil engineering. That's what I believe. Yes,
that's amazing. Actually, one thing that I came to understand from what you said is the importance of context. Because you brought yourself and you said, okay, I'm an African and I'm coming from Africa. There are challenges in Africa, and development is one of those challenges. And one of the most important ways so it's contextual. I'm doing civil engineering, but in my context.
Wow, I love that.
So I'm going to fix these problems. Why? Because they are my problems. So I'm very happy to hear that you're talking of all these different things that have not yet been applied in Africa. Maybe they might be applied in China or maybe in the United States, but we don't have them. We don't know them, right? I don't know that their house is assembled in a factory. I don't know that, right? So it's incredible to hear you speak of all the new things that you want to bring even into the space. So definitely looking forward to a company that is going to be
very soon.
Very sure.
Let me say something about that. You see, like I said earlier, there's something we call brain drain, okay, in population, where all the smart people, because everyone is thinking, because I have a degree and master's, let me go to the UK, let me go to England. But who is going to develop Zambia? You go to England, who's going to develop Zambia? You see, I'm not saying let's not make money. Money is yes in calling, but then at the end of the day, we're developing other nations and then calling ourselves primitive. When we are the smart ones to go and develop our nations. You can make the money that you want, but don't forget home. That is my cry. Yes, sir.
I also have the same thing. I also have the same thing. Now, coming from that, you are saying don't go out. You're in India right now. Why do you believe that being in India was important in your development?
That's an amazing question. An amazing question because I'm from saying don't go there. Yeah, so
Yeah.
what I can say, the reason as to why I chose to come here is because there are things that I have learned here that I would have never learned at home.
Right.
And I'll explain. Like I'm saying right now, these developments that have happened in India and that don't happen in Africa, you have to make sure that you can vast your knowledge. I would have been a civil engineer, yes, in Zambia, and that's okay. But I would have been limited to a certain extent because there I would have not been exposed to some applications, to some new developments and technologies. So if I want to improve that sector, I have to look for somewhere where I can get it from. Not because Africa is not good, but because there's something that I can't get in there that I can get in here. I'll give an example. At the University of Zambia, okay, right now, you can see a lecturer will come to you and then once in a week, twice in a week, you see? And they have so many schedules. But when you look at India, the lecturer will call you, brother, where are you? What's your class? You see? That means the education we have, even though it's strong, but it's very difficult to get it through by yourself, you see? A lecturer can choose to fail you when he's on. You know that?
Yeah.
Like that. But then here you have an opportunity to appeal. You can write an email. You can all these things I put them in because I want to say, let me go to India and see. You see? I evaluated the university in Zambia. I say this is good, but what do I have to gain from this? It will be limited. There's an example I'll give you of gold and water. Gold and water. Which one is more important between the two?
Definitely water.
Water, right?
Yeah.
Which one is more expensive?
Gold.
Why? Because gold is what? It's scarce. Because gold is not found everywhere. Water is still available.
So
when you're unique, you're valuable. I had to look for a component which was not in Africa for me to become
unique.
Yes, sir.
You're killing me with philosophy.
Yes, sir. That's my take.
I really like that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so what then? Tell me if you can. One thing that you saw here that you had never seen before. That was something that was new to you.
That's interesting. What I saw was pretensioning and precasting. The same one I'm talking about, the precast, where a house is built with a boat. I was like, what is this? Because you are in the lab and they can just make the things, they make them in the lab, they go and put them on site. That was my project for my final project. I did that on my final project. It was so interesting. And then also the machinery here we have in my school, it is so interesting.
Incredible.
One of the best in England. It's actually very special, like Tokaro,
Yeah.
It's something we call, it lifts, it's precast walls. So it is in the lab to measure how much they are weighing, where the cracks will be. You see, all those materials, you see?
Yeah.
So it's one thing I saw here that I haven't seen at home.
Wow.
And then also, when it comes to, not to lab work, you go there and do the work. You see, a lab is not for you to write there and then you say, I'm going to the lab. The lab is a practical work. They give you, this is a brick. Measure, measure the dimensions, check, how far it's going to last, check all these things. Have made us practical engineers. We're not theoretical engineers, we're practical engineers. So it's one thing I saw. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So when you get into the field, you can apply yourself
It's
immediately.
easy. Yes.
Immediately. That's amazing.
Because you're exposed to real life situations.
That's amazing.
Yes. It's not theoretical to say no, this abracadabra. No. It's practical work.
Application.
Yes. So that's
It has made a difference.
Yes, sir. Very big.
I'm very happy
Yes,
to hear
sir.
that. I'm
Yes,
very
sir.
happy to hear that. Definitely, I'm aware that you've been a very great help in terms of motivation to a lot of people,
Yes, sir.
even with philosophy. So my question is, what's your philosophy of motivation? What do you believe? What do you believe is motivation, and how do you believe one can stay motivated?
An amazing question. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Motivation. There's somebody who said motivation is two things. There is the one that is in you. It's called, I think, intrinsic or something. That's something.
Intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation.
You see? So these two motivations, I do believe they exist. But then the most important, however I can motivate you outside, if your face is not motivated, you cannot move anymore. You see, even if you say no, it's not of nature, you stay inside like that. If your motivation is not clear, because for you to say, I have to stand up and then go and take water, something pushes you to do it.
That's true.
And like asking the first question, ask me, why?
Why?
Your why will push you. You see, I can say what I have to say, listen to motivational speakers. I've seen people that they play motivational speakers the whole night during their sleep. They come up the next day and they're also crying. You see?
The problem is that
the problem is not the outside. The problem is something is wrong in the inside. What is pushing you to do what you're doing? That is the motivation. Your real motivation is not, no, I'll give you 10,000 rupees if you do it. That's not motivation. Your motivation is what to make you wake up in the morning when you don't want to wake up. What to make you to go to the gym when you don't want to go to the gym. What to make you to go and play basketball when you don't want to play basketball. That is your real motivation.
Wow.
So how does that come? That comes by setting out your goals. To say, these are my goals and this is my target. Because if I don't do it, no one will do it for you. If I don't do it, no one will do it for me. We have people that say, no, my dad. He's not going to be there for a long time. Right now we're done with school. No more daddy, no more me. It's up to you to handle the things, you see?
Or what you have achieved.
It's up to you. So, someone once said, Steve Harvey once said that, what kind of life do you want to live? Do you want to be a normal life who has a car, a house, they earn, they spend, or do you want to be a man who can create impact? To say, when I die today, they will say, Joshua Nkhoma live like this. To say, I have I'm a philanthropist, okay, I'm doing all these things, but for you to do all these things, you have to go extra. That's why they call them extraordinary, isn't it? You add some extra, you hear me? Yeah. So again, it's setting out your own motivation, your own goals, and to say, okay, I want to be a basketball player. What do I need to do? How am I going to achieve there? Not the easy way out. And that's why nowadays we have so many scammers, and they're happy because people are so scammable. You understand? Because they want the easy way out.
They want the easy. It's so you want 3 days to be millionaire.
You want 3 million.
3 million.
And then you do not see that there is a path that can lead you there in 2 years, in 5 years, which is genuine. So what is your daily motivation? It starts daily. For us to have tomorrow, someone once told me that for us to have tomorrow, you have to talk about the next 2 seconds because they all add up into tomorrow. So what is going to motivate you to go and eat downstairs, to stand up to go to class? That is your biggest motivation. I believe if you're, what do they call it? Extrinsic?
Intrinsic.
Intrinsic and what?
Extrinsic.
Extrinsic. If your extrinsic is not, is big, but your intrinsic is not, you won't go nowhere.
So
You'll be pushed and then you remain on the road. You will not accomplish everything. But then if your inside is saying, I want to be, like this podcast right now, no one pushed you to call you to say, I'm going to pay to do it. It was your own motivation.
So
that means right now, you understand. I was talking to Sir earlier on, I was asking him, how do you study? He was telling me, we study from here. I said, you guys, this is so interesting. So that means somebody will tell you, no, stop that, the attitude won't go nowhere. No one is watching it. But you knew why you started it, and your why will push you. That is what will push you. Your why will push you. Why did you start it? For the truth to be spoken. And that will continue like this. That is my take on motivation.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
One thing that I really like
yes.
what you said is one person I believe once said the difference between discipline and motivation is that motivation is short-lived. So you need you need it consistently, right? The discipline you've explained it quite well.
Wow.
That you need when you have no reason to, you need to.
That is
right. That's real motivation.
I love that. Yes, sir.
That's real motivation. So it must be something that is within you.
Yes.
Very rightly put. And I was just listening. I was saying, wow, you're just touching base on things that I love to say.
Yes,
so
I love it.
I'm very insightful.
Yes,
very insightful. Now, then let's talk as well. Now, when I was preparing for this podcast, one thing that I did was I asked myself what type of person that you are, right?
Yes,
and what I labeled it was you are a philosophical person.
Wow, yes, sir.
Right. So I take it quite philosophical engagement.
I love that.
So I would love to know your thoughts on purpose.
Wow.
Do you believe purpose is discovered or you believe it's created?
Wow. That's an amazing question.
Yes.
Do I believe that purpose is created or is discovered?
Discovered. Do you create your own purpose, or is it something that is spontaneous? It just happens. Just yeah.
Amazing question. Now I'll give an example.
Oh.
For this chair to exist, do you think that it existed after its purpose, or its purpose was created for it to be in existence? Like the question is, do you believe that the chair was created because there was a need for it, or they arrived after the chair had been put in purpose already. What do you think?
They needed to be there before.
So, I don't want to fit into religion because you know of different viewers.
I don't know. Please,
You can do it.
Yeah, please do. To the audience listening, he's a world-renowned Christian pastor. He preaches, and he's well known, in the Christian circle. Very much so. Very much so. Right. So definitely, I think we can obviously a philosophy that you have very much so.
I'll lean both in just in general and then also in the religion.
Yeah,
so in general, I believe that for something to exist, there must have been a why. Anything to exist, that camera you're using to record was in place because there was a need for someone to see it online, for someone to capture a picture. Now, I'll come into religion. For somebody to exist, someone must have created him.
No.
Because we believe, let me just say, okay, let me use science, okay?
No.
Let me use science. Science says that energy can never be what? Created, no, destroyed. It can only be what?
Be transferred.
Transferred. But that energy was created by somebody.
So true.
Because the energy cannot be created, it means it's from somewhere, there's a source.
The source.
Now, that source had a purpose for it. Now, a human being has energy, isn't it? We have matter, right? We have atoms. Now, God had intended things for man. You see, when you go back to the Bible in Genesis chapter 1, you see how God has intention for a man. That is for human being, okay? That is in the religion, sector. Oh. I don't believe in religion. Christianity is not religion. It's a lifestyle, right?
It's a lifestyle, yeah.
But then, for the sake of, you see,
context,
we don't say religion.
Yeah.
For anything to exist, I believe the process might have been predestined or pre-arranged for it to be in existence. Because if you say that people create their own purpose, it means that today I can say, today I'm doing this, tomorrow I'm doing this. I can create my purpose any day. You see, I can change it. But then if your purpose is aligned, you have to now discover what it is. You see? Because it's there, but then you have to discover what it is. I'll give you an example. If I'm moving from here to Mumbai, okay? There are different routes. Okay? Now, if I use a route to Bangalore, does that mean that Mumbai doesn't exist anymore?
No.
It's still there, right? But I use a route to. That's how life is. Just because someone is saying, my purpose is this, you can be living in a different world, in a different thing. That's why things are difficult for people because they're not living their purpose. Now, when God created purpose for man, He gave him whatever that he needs to do. You go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah was so that I knew before you were formed. That means He predestined and gave you whatever you need. Now, life, it becomes difficult for those who want to create their own purpose. Because what you create, you sustain. Because for something that you create, you have to be sustained. But if God gives the purpose, He has to give you what He needs to accomplish it. So, in a nutshell, I talk a lot. In a nutshell, I believe that people must discover their purpose. So how do you do it? You contact the owner. No one knows app more than the Apple themselves. No one knows, Samsung more than Samsung themselves. You can go to Kit Road and find somebody who's come you. They'll tell you, no, bro, this, But then when you go to Apple, they'll tell you, sir, this value can be fixed. You see?
That's true.
So the value is only found from the manufacturer. So no one knows you more than your source. Brother, I know you're saying I'm an atheist. But someone created you. And you have to go back to the roots. Okay? Ask, no matter what religion you are. Even if you can be Muslim, Hindu, Christian, somebody created you. Go and discover that purpose and live in it. That is my take.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
I was listening.
Yes, sir.
One thing that touched me when you gave the metaphor.
Yes, sir.
I began to say, okay, so there must be. So we cannot exist without a reason for us to
exist. It exists. Because why?
The reason must be God. So the reason first is to be there for your existence.
That's my take.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow, so profound. I think if they're listening, they're going through. The mind is really going through a lot. But yeah, really enjoying it.
Yes,
really enjoying it.
Thank you, sir.
Wow. Should be, I should be writing notes, but
I also go and watch it. Make sure you watch it.
Definitely. So to go to the next question, what is one thing I'm trying to... Okay, fine. When it comes to what is one thing that you live by, one philosophy, one thing that guides you in everything that you do, one thing that you really follow. Yeah. What's that thing that guides you and that really keeps you grounded in everything that you do?
What keeps me grounded is that there's always a way. That's what I believe. You know, we're living in a world where things are very difficult for most people, you see, and you ask yourself every single day. There are people that haven't paid their school fees.
So true.
There are people that don't even know where the meal is going to come from. There is always a way. One time I was in Delhi and I met this young man, very strong. He was begging on the streets. So I called him. I said, why can't you work? Find a work where you can do something. You are a young man at the age of 15, 20, and you're begging on the streets. There are people that you can go and become a conductor on a bus. You can go and ask for a piece work. I know people that have raised themselves from nothing.
So
they found a way. That is one thing that I've realized, that no matter what happens in life, there is always a way. I think two things that I'll use. There is always a way. And the second one is people. Know people. Treat people well. Because everywhere you go, there are people. That's the principle. Everywhere you go, there are people that are going to help you. You can say, no, you know, for me, I'm a self-made man. That's a lie. There's no such a thing as self-made man. Everybody, even those people that call themselves actually hustlers, they need someone's help to put them in that position. So, there's two things. There's always a way. And number two is people. People. Everywhere you go, treat people right. For me to be here is because you trusted me to come here.
So true.
You see, it's because you and I have a good relationship. Imagine if I wronged you. I want to be here.
So true.
You see, you have told me, that guy, don't bring him here. You see, people. Because everywhere you go, people help you. That's my take.
That's amazing. And you know, I'm listening to you saying this, and one thing that I've realized, when you say there is always a way, one thing that you realize is those who usually succeed are those that make the way, right? You make the way. And then also, there's one philosophy that I live by, and I always say with the team that I have, you know, that with the second aspect was there's always a way, and then people, right? That the person who's promoted at work is always the person that's liked the most. That's so true, right? It's actually not about who's doing the job the best. The question is, when you say, guys, who do you want us to promote? Who do people say he deserves?
Wow.
There's nothing to do with how much effort you're putting.
Wow, that makes so much sense.
It is not usually. So people love the way you speak. They love the way they love the way you apply yourself.
You treat them.
So they're like, they see you as a So even leadership. Leadership, usually the person who's put into leadership. You don't choose yourself.
Yes.
People choose you, right? So you need people always.
Wow.
You need people. So I really.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Man.
They start saying good morning back. And to them, it's now a daily habit. They're going to say to the next person.
They recommend you. But then you come to work, you get in the front, you know, with your headset, and then you want to be promoted. How?
That doesn't make sense.
Who's going to promote you? That's very.
And then when you ask you know, when people are talking, who's the most nicest person you know? They remember you saying.
You
good
see,
morning. This guy always greets you every single day.
You have your GPA 99.
You have your 9.9, but you're in the same position.
You see?
That's so
that
true.
makes so much sense.
So
Yes,
true.
sir. I agree with you.
Definitely this conversation has been amazing.
Thank you.
So
Not ending, are we? It's been so interesting. Continue talking, you know.
Definitely, I would love to end
Yes, sir.
on a note.
Yes, sir.
On a very big note. We all fail.
Yeah.
Right? We are the accumulation of failures. Success is the accumulation of failures. Right? How many times have you fallen and rose up? And you know, my question is, one moment. Now, I'm saying this is the last question, but I have another question.
Yeah. Okay.
So my question is, what is one failure that you'll never forget, and that will always stay with you wherever you are? And in every decision you make, you always look back and say, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, what is that one failure?
Amazing question. Thank you so much. Now, before I answer that question, I want to say something. Michael Jordan once said something. He says that I succeed now because I failed so much. And I'm not saying that you fail. But then, I don't call it failure. I call it learning. I don't fail, I learn. You see? Because failure is for those who don't put in the work.
So true.
Failure is for the lazy and for the losers. And we're not losers. We are learners. Now, that means it will not work. I'm not saying it will work.
Amazing. So
It might not work, I was saying. The failure that I have, that I won't call a failure, I'll call what? A learning point, right?
Yeah.
It's in basketball. When I came in 2021, it was COVID time, like I said earlier. So it was very difficult for us to go out and play, find a team. So when I found a team, I jumped with them, you know. It was good. I joined the basketball team for the school. Then in 2024, I was supposed to travel to China. You see, to China.
Yeah.
At the time, we were given 3 slots for Africans on the team, you know, to represent India, to play for the Indian national team. I worked so hard. I'm telling you, when the results came out and my name was not there, I gave up on basketball. I said, no, never again.
I'll never play.
Because I realized I had put so much work, and then the people that didn't put work were chosen. You see? And I said, why? And then I realized that I had something I wasn't doing that I was supposed to do. Because, for example, if I get to play in this room, okay, and then I leave, if I come back and I find you've cleaned the next room, you've polished it, you've cleaned it, the purpose was for you to clean this room. So what the coach wanted me to work on is not what I worked on. I worked on something that I thought I needed to do, but I didn't ask the coach what she needed me to do. You see? So I worked so hard in my area which was not needed at the time. You see?
So true.
So at the time that the results came out, the coach told me, Joshua, you're okay, but you're not working in this aspect. The people that you think you're not working, they are working towards what I told them to do. So that was one of my biggest failures in life, because I was like, this is an opportunity for me to travel.
That's so true.
You see? To go and meet new coaches, to go and meet, scouts, opportunities abroad, you see? And so those are major ones I can say. The other ones, yes, they're a bit personal. They're manageable. But the one which broke me was that one for basketball. And then later on, I called my mom. She told me something. She told me that she asked me a question. She said that right now, do you think that if you go to the NBA, do you know LeBron James? Yeah. Do you think that a coach will tell LeBron to say, LeBron, sit down, Joshua, come here? Do you think that you've worked so hard to say that you can replace LeBron James on the team? I said, no, man. They said, don't complain. Go and work. That means you're not yet ready. So you can complain because you think in the moment, it must have been me, But then, did you work in accordance with what was needed? I said, no. I said, then don't complain. And I went back to work. I worked twice as hard. And in the next tournament I played, won a medal. We have so many trophies, so many certificates, so many medals. Because we never gave up on the learning. We learned and we worked on it. That's my biggest one, I guess.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow. That's a lot of inspiration,
Yes,
right?
Thank you, sir.
And wow. And you continued.
Continue to work.
That's what's important.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Just continue.
And I'll never stop. When I go home, I'm going there for a few months, and then other opportunities, I want to play more basketball. Yes, sir.
I like that.
Yes, sir. It's become motivation.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Now to end officially.
You end.
Okay, if I always ask this question at the end, right? If you were to have dinner with one person today, ask any one person that you want to have dinner with, who would that person be and why?
It's a tough question. If I have to have dinner with one person right now.
Yes.
Wait. Everything. I'm gonna say Jesus, but then.
But let me wait. Before you speak, before you speak, right? Let me say this. Guys, I was prepared. So I wrote Jesus here. I wrote Jesus here. I don't know. They can't see definitely, but I wrote Jesus because that's the expected answer. Right? That's the expected. Okay, fine. Let's put Jesus aside, right?
Yes, I want to say just back.
Because definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
That's so obvious.
That's so,
It's
it's
obvious.
too.
Yes.
That's how obvious it is.
But
Yeah.
the person that I love to have dinner with, it's my father, my biological father.
Oh.
And I'll say why. My biological father passed when I was 4 years old. You see, I have glimpses of his face in my head, but I cannot capture how he used to look like. And I have so many questions for him because, of course, we grew up in a place where inheritance is not really one of those things that are, so common.
So true.
But then I have so many questions to ask because I have to know there are so many stories about where we're from, our family philosophies, our family landmarks. There are things that I need to know because growing up without a father figure was very difficult. You see, I had to learn from people that were my pastor at church. I have to learn from my uncles, you see, because there was no father figure in my life. I would have to have dinner with him to just say, I made it. You see, I tell him, this is a certificate, this is the trophies, this is what you wanted me to do and I've done it. Wow. That's what I would want, sir.
That's
Yes,
really touching.
Yes,
I believe personally that your father will be proud.
Yes, sir. Wow.
Very proud of
Thank
you
you, sir.
that you've
Thank you,
become.
sir.
Really,
Yes, sir.
you're an inspiration to a lot of people.
Thank you, sir.
And definitely, I believe you would have been a jewel to you.
Wow, thank you so much.
You would even look for advice.
Yes.
You would-
Wow.
So I'm really,
Wow.
it's really true.
Thank you
It's
so
really
much,
true.
sir.
And for people, I study people for a reason. Right. So when you look at people who grow up without fathers or
Yes.
mothers, there are certain traits that you see
Yes, sir.
with those people.
Wow.
So you don't. I don't
Really?
see. I don't see the absence of any father figure in your
Wow.
life. So your uncles and all the people that were in your life
Yes, sir.
did a very good, amazing
Wow,
job.
thank you so much.
And even maybe some people say that some things are inborn.
Yes, sir. Wow.
So maybe you have traits of him that you don't even.
Wow. Yes, sir.
know. So I'm very grateful to God
Thank
that
you
He
so
guided
much.
you.
Wow,
Likewise.
man. Thank you so
Likewise. Yeah. So
Wow.
really touching.
Thank you so much.
And also to your mother as
Yes,
well.
sir. To my
Raising
mom.
up a man like yourself.
Shout out to Mom. Shout out to you, Mom.
So true.
Yes, sir.
So I'm really. I want to thank her firstly. Just thank you for being able to
Yes, sir.
no matter how hard things got,
Wow.
no matter how hard things got, but definitely God does it for a reason. So I'm very certain that nothing is a mistake.
Yes, sir. Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Nothing is a
So
mistake.
but what I want you to hold and go home with is, if he was here, he'll be proud. That's what's important. That's what's relevant. Because when you look at the life that you're living, certain people,
Yes, sir.
if when you imagine even if they were there, would they be disappointed or proud?
Wow.
In some situations they'll be disappointed.
Disappointed. Wow.
It's better that they are gone.
Yes, sir.
Right? In some situations.
Wow, I like that. That's that. So for them, it's better that they don't see it.
It's better that they don't have those to see those experiences.
Those regrets.
Don't to regret in
Wow.
such a way. Right?
I like that.
So I'm very happy to commend you. Of course,
Thank you so
I'm
much.
being a little bit harsh.
Yes.
But
No, it's the truth. The truth hurts.
It's the truth.
The truth hurts to some people.
That's so true.
It's a bitter pill.
But by the way, before this is the end. This is the end. So guys, our guest today, his name is Joshua Nkhoma.
Yes, sir.
Right? He has the name of my country's national hero. He has the name of a great man.
Yes, sir.
So definitely we expect great things. Definitely we expect great things, and we definitely one day we'll meet
Yes,
again.
we'll meet again.
I think very
Yes, sir.
very true.
Yes, sir.
So happy to have you.
Thank you so much,
It was
sir.
a very
I'm
amazing
so grateful.
conversation.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir. I think I need to say something.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that we have to end the podcast, but personally, I feel like I need to end this out.
Yes, sir.
So it's just a question to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Like, there are times where I set my own goals. I actually start journaling. He actually taught me that as a man, you should have a journal.
Yes.
Though some people prefer calling it a diary,
A diary.
but we like it to sound a
That's
bit more
what we-
manly, a journal. So yeah, so I like journaling
Yes.
only because of him. So when I list my goals, I kind of find it very hard to like keep up with things that I set for myself. To an extent of sometimes I feel like maybe I'm setting for myself maybe difficult goals. So I really need to understand like what exactly am I doing wrong, because I'm overly confused. I'm not sure whether I'm actually cut up for the goals that I'm setting for myself, or whether I'm just trying to do something that I can't.
Wow.
Okay, before you
Yes,
answer,
mm.
if you find yourself in a situation where you have the opportunity to get insight
Yes.
on something that is important to you,
Mm.
like in such a situation,
Yeah.
take that opportunity.
That's excuse me, sir.
Yeah, so
Wow.
definitely, yeah.
Thank you for that question. That's an amazing question. I also faced that difficulty a long time ago. Now, there are two types of goals that you must know. There's a long-term goal and a short-term goal. Now, depending on the timing of that you have to set that goal, to accomplish that goal, you have to know what you can accomplish in what span. So, let me give an example. Let me say I have a goal of going to the NBA. Now, I have to put a time limit to my goal to say, is it a long-term goal? Is it a short-term goal? Okay. Now, for the long-term goals, they can be accomplished in two days, in 1 week. When I try to accomplish them in that span, I'll fail, and I'll be frustrated. And one thing that is very important is that when you're frustrated, even your great motivation it's shut down. Now, you have to say, okay, this is my long-term goal. This is my short-term. Short-term might be easy to accomplish. It can be an assignment to say, I'll finish my assignment tomorrow, I'll finish, you see. And I know that sometimes procrastination happens, that you can say, I'll finish it tomorrow. And tomorrow you don't, you say again tomorrow. But then again, for the long-term goals, you also have to put a plan to it. Because to just put a goal on paper is not a problem. But to put a plan in accordance with it. Do you get my point? You have to know to say, like one thing that I do is that every single day I have a calendar for the day. I have a schedule to say 10 p.m. I have to be here, 10 a.m. I have to be here. So when I called you to say I'm running a bit late, it was on my program to say I have to be there at this particular time. So I said I'm going, today is on my program. So I asked him, you just how I'm looking? I'm looking a bit, rusty. I have to rush.
You're looking
to
nice.
You're looking nice. Yeah. So I said I have to go to that podcast because it's on my program. It's my short-term goal. It was my short-term goal because I was told, a few weeks ago, so I'll be here. I set that goal and I made a plan. You see? So the plan is accomplishing, it's accompanying the goal. Now, you say it's difficult to accomplish them, but the plan, if the plan fails, change the plan, but don't change the goal. Change the route, but don't change the destination. You see? So, if for example, let me give an example of gym, okay? That's one of the things that I had as a problem. Because I would go to class at 8, I have to be, sometimes I would practice at 7 in the morning, basketball practice at 7, class at 8 or 9, you come back, you have no time for gym, you have to go back for training. So what I did is I said, okay, I'll start. I'm not big here, but I'm very, very fit, okay? So what I said is this example I'll give you. I said, okay, in the morning, I'll miss morning practice. I'll go and lift. I'll lift from 6 to 7, 8 I'll be in class, 5 I'll go for evening practice. You see, I have a plan. But if I just say I'll go to gym, what's the plan? How are you going to do it? And then when the time reaches for you to accomplish that goal, it will be difficult because you didn't start it early. So when you start that plan, make a route. There's something we call KPI in business. There's something called key
performance
indicator. You see?
Yeah.
So and in fact, I like that. No, I shake my hand. So what do you do now? You set out which one is going to be my keys. Put out what you need to say priority. Someone told me something to say, if your priority is more than 5, then you're a list of activities. They're not priorities. Set out what you need to do as your long term, then make a plan in accordance with it. Try this. Even just for a day. Just plan, make your calendar say 10 a.m. I have to be here, 5 I have to be here, 2 p.m. I have to be here. It's very difficult to fail like that. It's very difficult. You make the plan, and then like you said earlier to say that some goals that feel like they are overwhelming. Like for example, I can't make a plan to say like by 2 months I have to make 2 carol. You see? Those are impossible goals. In these 2 months, I'll make 2 carols. How am I going to do it? You see, I have no job. I have no this. Let's say you have no forex. Huh? You have no forex trading. You have no. Then you say in next 6 months, I must make 2 lakhs. How? How are you going to do it? So also the goals must also be. I don't want to say realistic because we believe in exactly, we believe in the impossible. But then again, the impossible must not be too impossible. You get it? You cannot say in 2 years I'll be president of Zambia. You see, those are impossible goals. But then the goals that you make must be in accordance with your ability to do it. That's my take. Have I answered the question?
Yes.
I think just to add that was I learned some of the important that I learned there is the goal is not the plan.
Yes.
So amazing. So you can. The goal is where you want to be.
Yes.
Right. The plan is how you
How to get there.
So you need. It's so amazing. So profound. I'm learning. I'm learning. When I watch this,
Taking notes.
I'll be processing. Definitely. Nah. Definitely, we've had a good time.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Really enjoyed the conversation. You answered, yeah? Nah, definitely. Like I said, we'll meet one or again.
Very soon.
Definitely.
And that's nearby there.
Yeah.
One border. Yes, sir.
Nah, it's quite fine. Thank you for
Thank you
for being here and for coming through. We know that you're very busy, so it's quite an opportunity.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much. Make sure you watch, share to somebody, subscribe, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Alhamdulillah.
For sure. Thank you so much, sir.